Hey everyone, welcome back to CryptoCache. Thank you so much for joining me here today. I hope you're having an amazing day. We're going to take a quick look at Jasmy, and just before we do, we look at Bitcoin, get an understanding of the market so we know exactly what's going on. And this is a request from one of my community members, so thank you very much for asking I cover this. This is a new coin to me, so I'll be excited to check it out. Now, just a quick look at Bitcoin. We're just trading right around 64,500. It's trying to break above 65,000, but it can't quite do that. So ultimately, at this price range, we're not in bad shape. That's all things considered in pretty good shape because of the fact that we had a major 10% sell-off in only 3 hours on the 10th. I think we're doing pretty well. So just keep that in mind. The price will probably continue sideways for a little while longer. Hopefully break to the upside, of course. And let's take a quick look at the 4 hour, just to get an understanding here. We're still under the 50-day simple moving average, but the 200's trailing behind. So the good news is we got a lot of volume in this area, and there's a good chance we're going to see the 200 become a support level here in the near future. So all good stuff here for Bitcoin. Definitely not terrible by any means. It's pretty normal for it to kind of go sideways like this based on the scenario. So let's take a quick look at Jasmy again here, right? And let's see here, which one was it? I think we're looking at this guy here. All right. Now, in regard to Jasmy, first of all, just something to kind of understand, there's pretty low volume here recently, and that concerns me a lot based on the fact that the price increase occurred with so little volume. That basically just means there's a lot more volatility, so the price could literally increase or decrease in a second's notice as soon as as soon as there's a lot of volume that comes into play. So just bear that in mind that that's a bit of a concern with lower volume and higher price. That does mean that the price could come crashing back down, which is what we're seeing now with just a few people selling. It also means the price could increase pretty quick too. So, low volume equals high volatility, and that can be a problem to predict, right? So I don't typically like to cover coins like this in general, but we're here, why not? So just to keep in mind, that's kind of the foundation here, what's going on. So it's kind of risky, in my opinion, to invest in coins at this specific time. But again, it's not necessarily a bad thing. Obviously, there's different drawbacks and benefits. Okay, so the thing I can see here that's kind of helpful is on the 50-day simple moving average. Obviously, that's going to come into play here soon. So the price keeps coming down. That could effectively keep the price up. We've got 50 on the RSI working as a support level. So it's really good, right? So we like to see 50 on the RSI work as a support. That's potential, of course, that makes that will only be relevant if it holds, obviously, right? So hopefully in the next couple of days we can kind of see a bounce to the upside. But ultimately, 50 on the RSI does work traditionally as a support level, which basically just means that there's probably something on the Fibonacci retracement line that we can kind of see here that would be probably pretty relevant to that. It could even be the price where it's at right now, but I'm guessing right around 13.5 cents would be the next major support level, which would likely be 50 on the RSI. So just bear that in mind. We're kind of testing a current support level right about 17 cents. But I would say that 13.5 is probably more of a realistic expectation because that was a previous high, right? So if you see here, that was a previous high and it obviously broke to the upside. So it's going to be considered a stronger support level. So 13.5, I would say, is a pretty strong support. And we'll go and mark the resistance here. All right. So we got that. One more thing here. We'll go ahead and mark this guy as well. And of course, the current support resistance. All right. So we got some of our stuff pulled up here. Let's go ahead and look at some of the other time frames really quick. The 4 hour tells us we are under the 50, but above the 200. So it's not terrible. I'd much rather be the other way around, but 200 does work notoriously as a very strong support level, even stronger than the 50. So if the price action coming down to that 13.5 wouldn't be a terrible thing. That'd be a great place to add to your position if you want to take a position to the long side, based on the simple fact that we got that support level for the 200 and that major support level as a previous high. Okay, so there's that little sentiment there, which is definitely good. We've got the RSI is very low on the 70, on the 4 hour chart. It's well below 70, well below 50, closer to 30. So commonly when you see the price close to 30, that's a very strong support level as well. So if the price can continue to retrace just a little bit further, I would say between 13.5 and 14, maybe even 15 cents would be an awesome place to consider averaging your position either down or up, obviously depending on your overall. But I can tell you that, RSI being really low, closer to 30, usually whenever it drops below 30, it'll bounce back pretty quick. So it's just kind of a nice little ground floor type of scenario. And we're not quite there yet, but we could be there, right? Taking a look at the 1 hour here, let's go ahead and see where we're at. We're probably below the cloud. Right, yep, we definitely are. And in that sense too, with us being underneath the cloud, it's basically just considered a sell signal. So again, there's no reason to kind of add to your position just yet. you want to wait for the price to break back above the cloud. So just say the price goes sideways for another 12 to 24 hours, we will see it inevitably above the cloud, right? It's kind of just that natural progression. But for right now, it's kind of this bit of a lag here. We don't need to worry about it. If the price continues to go down to, just say 13.5, 14 cents, then we're looking at a pretty good place to go ahead and add to your position. So all in all, not terrible. Again, there's more bearish qualities here than bullish, but they're the bearish qualities that kind of demand a reversal, if that makes sense, right? We're coming up on that. So I think if we lose this support level here at about 17 cents, it wouldn't be a terrible thing. It would just be a better opportunity to buy in a little bit lower, okay? But again, you don't want to take entry until the price is above the cloud on the 1 hour chart. That's ultimately a really strong foundation to utilize in scenarios like this, especially with low volume. Last thing we want to look at is T sequential. We're probably down closer to an 8. Oh, there we go. Yeah, we got a 9. So we're basically in overtime here. So for lack of better terms, we shouldn't see the price go much lower, at least on this continuation here. We might see it go sideways for some time and then eventually leg down. But for right now, we should see some consolidation occurring at the support level here at 17. So ultimately, I would say an entry between 14 and 17 cents is not a terrible entry, considering the fact that it should break to the upside eventually. Obviously it did very well in this, between the November 1st and the 2nd. Okay. So ultimately, what is it? It's about almost 2 weeks later. We could very well start seeing a leg up soon. Just the only thing that I'm concerned about is the amount of volume. There's a tremendously low amount of volume, which means a lot of people probably added to their position previously or during this time. And the only people selling are the ones that are trying to kind of get out. Obviously, that's how it works in most cases, but you typically have a lot of volume in the selling side of things as you do the buying side. It's kind of strange to have low volume on the selling side. So again, to me, that's just kind of a bit of a warning sign that I see that a lot in penny stocks from before, where you'd have like this massive increase at first, price goes way up, then all of a sudden it just kind of drops out of nowhere and there's no volume at all. Pretty much just means those who bought in at this range here are going to probably be holding. In fact, why don't we kind of look at the volume profile? Obviously, there's a tremendous amount of volume there, but let's see here in the last, let's go with the last, 2 weeks here. So the last 2 weeks of trading data, most of the volume has been right here at about 21 cents, okay? So ultimately, that's not a bad sign. It just means that there's potential resistance, and we can deal with that later. But to me, yeah, again, if you're going to be considering going long for this coin, I would say between 14 and 17 cents is a good consideration. We're kind of close to an exhaustion period right now, so we might see the price go sideways for some time, but I still speculate it's going to go a little bit lower. But this may very well be the bottom, which would be great if it was. It's just hard to really say with the amount of volume. So big picture here, let's say best case scenario, right? In 2 weeks' time, this thing really just picks up and starts taking off. What is that going to look like? Well, that could put us at about 65 cents. That'd be a best case scenario. That's pretty significant considering it's about 16 cents right now. That's literally like a 3 to 4x, right? So that's definitely a good return on investment. But again, there's a risk to reward ratio here. You got to understand it's risky to invest in a coin like this with such a low volume recently that has a tremendous amount of volatility. So until we start seeing the volume picking up, I think that would be a consideration to also kind of hold off, because that would also, that kind of, I don't know, I get concerned when I see low volume on coins. That's why I try to avoid coins that have low volume, low market cap, because it's just, it's kind of more of a gamble than it is an educated guess, because this charting like this doesn't really matter all that much when you have that scenario, if that makes any sense. Hopefully you understand what I'm saying, but I hope I didn't provide more questions and answers here today. Hopefully this did address a few things for you, but I personally would wait. This is not a buy signal by any means. We need to wait until we see 30 on the RSI on the 4 hour chart. We want to be back over the 1 hour Ishimoku cloud, and a few other factors too. But the 200 is coming in on the 4 hour chart. That 200-day simple moving average, I think that'll be the lifesaver, right around 14 cents presently. All right. So hopefully you found benefit again. Thank you so much for your time. Look forward to seeing you in the next video. Have a great rest of your day. Take care.